Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji, for starting the recording. Hare Krishna, Satya Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Lovesh Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Madhusudan Prabhuji. Shreegopal Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Sirisha Mataji, Hare Krishna. Girraj
हरे
Prabhuji.
कृष्ण माता जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
हरे कृष्ण माता जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
Hare Krishna, Vanilla Mataji. Please
हरे
accept
कृष्ण माता जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
Kamya's iPhone. I don't know who that is.
हरे कृष्णा माता जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Let's see. You are able to see my screen, everyone, Mataji, Prabhuji?
यस माता जी।
Not this. I think I was. This. Sorry, Prabhuji and Mataji. I'm not very well versed with the Zoom's ways. Okay. Let's do a bhajan before we start. Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. दयाल निताय चैतन्य बोले नाचे रामरमान। दयाल निताय चैतन्य बोले नाचे रामरमान। नाचे रामरमान, नाचे रामरमान, नाचे रामरमान, नाचे रामरमान। दयाल निताय चैतन्य बोले नाचे रामरमान। दयाल निताय चैतन्य बोले नाचे रामरमान। दयाल तो नहीं है, दयाल तो नहीं है, मार खे देव प्रेम दे। दयाल तो नहीं है, मार खे प्रेम दे। दयाल तो नहीं है, अपराध दूरे जाबे पाबे प्रेम धन। ओरे अपराध दूरे जाबे पाबे प्रेम धन। दयाल निताय चैतन्य बोले नाचे रामरमान। दयाल निताय चैतन्य बोले नाचे रामरमान। नाचे रामरमान, नाचे रामरमान, नाचे रामरमान, नाचे रामरमान। दयाल निताय चैतन्य बोले नाचे रामरमान। विचार तो नहीं है, विचार तो नहीं है, नामे अपराध। विचार तो नहीं है, विचार तो नहीं है, नामे अपराध। विचार तो नहीं है, कृष्ण नाम में रुचि हबे कुछ बेबंधन। ताको कृष्ण नाम में रुचि हबे गुचि बेबंधन। दयाल निताय चैतन्य बोले नाचे रामरमान। दयाल निताय चैतन्य बोले नाचे रामरमान। नाचे रामरमान, नाचे रामरमान, नाचे रामरमान, नाचे रामरमान। दयाल निताय चैतन्य बोले नाचे रामरमान। अनुराग तो हबे है, अनुराग तो हबे है, कृष्णा नामे। अनुराग तो हबे है, अनायास से सफल हबे जीवेरा जीवान। ताको अनायास से सफल हबे जीवेरा जीवान। दयाल निताय चैतन्य बोले नाचे रामरमान। दयाल निताय चैतन्य बोले नाचे रामरमान। नाचे रामरमान, नाचे रामरमान, नाचे रामरमान, नाचे रामरमान दयाल निताय चैतन्य बोले, नाचे रामरमान दयाल निताय चैतन्य बोले, नाचे रामरमान। जीवन तो मीचे है, जीवन तो मीचे है, कृष्णा रति विना जीवन तो मीचे है, जीवन तो मीचे है, कृष्णा रति विना जीवन तो मीचे है। वृंदावन राधा श्यामेर पाबे दर्शन से, वृंदावन राधा श्यामेर पाबे दर्शन, दयाल निताय चैतन्य बोले, नाचे रामरमान दयाल निताय चैतन्य बोले, नाचे रामरमान, नाचे रामरमान, नाचे रामरमान, नाचे रामरमान, नाचे रामरमान दयाल निताय चैतन्य बोले, नाचे रामरमान निताय दयाल निताय चैतन्य बोले, नाचे रामरमान। गौर कृपा हले है, गौर कृपा हले है, गौर कृपा हले है, गौर कृपा हल निताय दयाल निताय चैतन्य बोले, नाचे रामरमान दयाल निताय चैतन्य बोले, नाचे रामरमान, नाचे रामरमान, नाचे रामरमान, नाचे रामरमान, नाचे रामरमान दयाल निताय चैतन्य बोले, नाचे रामरमान दयाल निताय चैतन्य बोले, नाचे रामरमान। Let's read the translation. Chanting the holy name, Dayal Nitai Chaitanya, O my mind, please dance. O my mind, please dance. O my mind, please dance. Oh, such a merciful personality as Nityananda Prabhu is not to be found anywhere. He suffers a beating from Jagai and Madhai and still gives them the love of God. Oh, when your offenses are being vanquished, you will obtain the treasure of love of God. But in these names of Chaitanya and Nitai, there is no consideration of offenses. Once you have a taste for the holy name of Krishna, bondage to this world will come to an end. Oh, when there is attachment to the holy name of Krishna, the life of a living being very easily becomes successful. Oh, without affection for Krishna, life is simply useless. At the end of life, you will obtain the beautiful vision of Radha and Shyama in Vrindavana, but only when the mercy of Lord Gaura is first received. Oh. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki Jai. Hare Krishna Amma. Hare Krishna.
Dandot Pranam Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Lilananda Prabhuji. Dandot Pranam Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. So I'm going to do fifth chapter, fifth canto, 14th chapter, and 13th chapter, no, 14th chapter. 11th verse. Let's begin with Mangalacharana prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. विष्णुं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणरघुनाथान्वितां तां सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्चात्य देशता। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम पवित्रो पवित्रो वा सर्वावस्थां गतोऽपि वा यत् स्मरेत् पुण्डरीकाक्ष स बाह्याभ्यन्तरं शुचि। श्री विष्णु श्री विष्णु श्री विष्णु। Hare Krishna, Prabhuji and Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Welcome to the Saturday morning class, and thank you for giving me this opportunity, Lilananda Prabhuji, Anuradha Mataji, and Shilpa Mataji. So this is Canto 5, the creative impetus, and chapter 14, which is the forest of, what is this chapter's name? The chapter's name is The Material World as the Great Forest of Enjoyment. So let's just do a very quick recap to come to this place where I have to start. This is for my own understanding and flow. So material world as the great forest of enjoyment. So as you all know, first and second cantos are considered as the lotus feet of the Lord, right? And they contain beautiful, wonderful prayers of devotees and Lord's reciprocation also. And there is birth of Parikshit that happens there, and history of Bhagavatam comes there, and Chatushloki Bhagavatam also comes there. So these are the highlights of first and second cantos. Then we went through third and fourth cantos. What are they? They are thought of as the thighs of the Lord, and they're very rich in content. Third and fourth chapter, I was, baffled to have gotten introduced to so many characters. Plethora of characters come into third and fourth cantos. One category of characters are favorable to bhakti, and the second category of characters are not so favorable to bhakti. And then what happens in the end? There is an intervention of devotees to bring the characters who are unfavorable to bhakti to the path of bhakti. That is very interesting part of third and fourth canto, as you might have heard in many lectures also. It's very interesting for us to know the story of a person who did all nonsensical stuff, very bad, and his or her transformation into being really good, right? Rather than hearing about someone who is always good from birth. This is our human mind conditioning also. We really like the transformation. All the movies that we really like those movies where an underdog, a very downtrodden, almost dismissed as useless, becomes a really hero in the end. So we like that positive transformation in everything that we read. So those transformations are very nicely depicted in third and fourth um, uh, cantos, right? The characters that are favorable to bhakti are, the names that are favorable to bhakti devotees are Narada, Shiva, Dhruva, Suniti, Anga, Maitreya, Prithu, Prachetas, Vidura. And then those who are somewhat unfavorable, having unfavorable attitude to bhakti are Daksha, Suruchi, Vena, Indra, Prachina Barhi. And then positive transformation happens, right? Before and after, those transformations are really good. Even in a mundane example, as a weight loss, right? They always entice the advertisement, entice us saying that before this person was like this and after this person is like that. That's very attractive to me also about third and fourth cantos. And then there is a very prominent teaching that is given by those two cantos, which is if we pursue the path of Gnana, we get impersonal liberation. And if we pursue the path of karma, we get heavenly enjoyment. But both are very inferior to the path of bhakti. That is the hidden underlying undercurrent of third and fourth cantos. And then we also get in the end, Maitreya introduces us to Swayambhuva Manu's descendants, Devahuti, Akuti, Prasuti, and Uttanapada. And that's how we land into fifth canto, which is considered to be the lotus navel of the Lord, right? And we are introduced to dynasty of Priyavrata here in the fifth canto. One thing that was attractive to me in this fifth canto was the kind of names that are there for all of the folks and devotees we learn about here. So dynasty of Priyavrata, he is the son of Manu, other son of Manu. So from 5.1 to 5.15, right, we learn about the descendants, the dynasty of Priyavrata actually. So we are in the 14th chapter today. So we are still in that part where we are introduced to dynasty of Priyavrata. The latter part of this canto will describe the positioning of various planetary system within the universe. Okay, so let's come to the first 15 chapters of fifth canto, where dynasty of Priyavrata is introduced. So Priyavrata embodies the spirit of sacrificing one's personal desire to be obedient to the orders of superiors. This is what Gaurangarshan Prabhuji says in the Bhagavata Subodhini. So he says Priyavrata is highlighting this character where he really sacrifices his own personal desire to follow the orders of the superiors. He really wanted to take sannyasa, but agreed to rule the kingdom by the order of Brahma. And he's the one who divides the Brahmanda, Bhumandala, into 7 oceans and 7 islands. And he appoints the sons as rulers before retiring. He also embodies a great devotee can also achieve a lot, right? Achievements are not, achievements are very easy, in fact, for a devotee. Why? Because devotee has the most important qualification to achieve things in life. This was very what do you say, touching for me. In order to achieve something, to be seen as an achiever, the most important quality is to have a surrender to Supreme Lord. Now, the question may come, no, we see so many achievers around. They haven't surrendered to the Lord. How come that is possible? But I learned through reading the chapters from I was going quickly from first chapter to 14th chapter day before yesterday and yesterday. Something struck me is that what we think is an accomplishment of a person is only a point in time accomplishment. We are forgetting that something else is going to happen or may happen in their lives, right? Sachin Tendulkar, Virat Kohli's of this world, and then all the big companies who are coming up with huge innovations and progress in whatever field they are in. It's only a point in time perception of their success that we can see today. But looking at Priyavrata, we have an entire life, right? From starting to end. And now Bhagavatam and Sukadeva Goswami declares him as an achiever, looking at his complete life. This is a realization for me that how conditioned we are that we think a point in time accomplishment and success is success, without realizing that there is life still left for that person who we are calling as an achiever, and we have to wait and see where he or she goes with that achievement, right? But Bhagavatam, wherever Shukadeva Goswami declares somebody as an achiever, they are an achiever, because it's a 360-degree perception of that entire life. And I'll give an example when I come to the starting of this class, which is the 11th verse. And then Agnidhra. Agnidhra is the first son of Priyavrata. He ruled Jambudvipa. He married Purvachitti and got 9 sons. And they ruled 9 varshas of Jambudvipa. Then we come to Nabhi. Nabhi is the first son of Agnidhra. Priyavrata, Agnidhra, Nabhi. And Nabhi also ruled Bharatavarsha. And by a sacrifice, he got Lord Rishabdev as his son. Right? And then 4th, 5th, 6th chapters are about Rishabdev's glories. Rishabdev is none other than Lord's incarnation. And he begot 100 sons. Right? And he appointed Ajagara Vritti as the successor, and he wandered like Avadhuta after taking retirement and disappeared into the forest. And then we come to 7th and 8th chapter, where we learn about the beautiful stories of Bharata. He is the first son of Lord Rishabdev. He ruled Bharatavarsha, hence the name Bharat. And we know all the incidents that happened in Pulaha ashram. He becomes a deer due to his overly attachment to the deer he came across. He saved, actually, he rescued. And then 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th chapters are about Jadabharata. Jadabharata is none other than Bharata, who has taken the birth in his next birth as Brahmana after the deer's birth. He behaves like a dull-headed person. And we learned the story of how Mother Kali saved him from being sacrificed once. And then we are now in the story where he's carrying the palanquin of King Rahugana. And in the process, he is giving him the teachings on the mind, right? Material entanglement, liberation, falsity of material world, Lord's qualities, and process of bhakti. These are the topics that are touched by Jadabharata in his teachings to Rahugana. And here in the 14th chapter, which is the material world as the great forest of enjoyment, we are in the middle of an allegorical story presented on the forest of material enjoyment. Okay, that's where we are here. So what happened? Let's quickly go through the allegorical story. So you all know, right? In the interest of time, I'm just going quickly so that I can get to the point of start. So an allegory is a picture or a story or a poem with a hidden meaning. It's a symbolic. It is not what it appears to be. That is called allegorical. So what happens in this story is that a merchant enters into a forest to acquire goods in order to sell them for profits, right? But he cannot find happiness. Why? 6 plunderers plunder the misguided merchant. So he's robbed. Do the plunderers live happily after that? No. Jackals plunder the inattentive merchant. See, this is where I was going. For the moment where the plunderers robbed this merchant, it might have felt like, oh, he accomplished something or he gained some wealth. But that's not it. Something else is waiting. Jackals. They plunder the inattentive merchant. So in all of this, there is the hidden meaning is that the merchant is the conditioned soul. He entering into the forest is conditioned soul entering into the material world. 6 plunderers plundering the misguided merchant is the uncontrolled 6 senses, right? Attacking the conditioned soul. The jackals plundering the inattentive merchant is, who are the jackals here? The family members. The family members who take away all the wealth of the conditioned soul and all that which he is trying to guard, but his own family members are taking it away. And then the story goes, there are dense bowers composed of thickets of bushes and grass and creepers. I'm reading from Bhagavata Subodhini of His Grace Gauranga Darshan Prabhu. So for the dense bowers, it's the grihastha. It's a field of fruitive activity, Prabhuji writes. Unless the desire to enjoy family life is completely burnt up, it returns again and again like weeds among crops, says. And then the story goes, in these bowers, he is always disturbed by biting mosquitoes. Something or the other keeps on happening. This is the constant, permanent quality of grihastha and material world. Something or the other keeps on happening, keeps on bothering us. Mosquitoes are thieves or low-class men. It could be thieves or low-class men. He's afflicted by low-class men who are like biting mosquitoes, and by thieves who are like vultures and rats, Prabhuji writes. And sometimes he sees an imaginary place, Gandharvapura. This is the mind's false vision, right? For a flickering moment, we might see a paradise in front of us. It's a false vision, right? Because his mind is absorbed in lusty, fruitive activities, he sees the material world as permanent, where he drinks, eats, and has sex. Being overly attached, he chases after sense objects, just as deer chase a mirage in the desert. That's what is happening. And then sometimes he's bewildered, seeing a glowing ghost, which looks like a meteor. The living entity desires gold. Ghost here is gold and runs after it. Gold is the source of material opulence and envy, and people in passion are attracted to it. And then what happens? The merchant's intelligence is victimized by home, wealth, relatives, and so forth. He runs from one place to another in search of success. So why does one need to search for success? Because that's what we need to maintain this body. Searching for success is analogous to have things that we need to do to maintain this body. So conditioned soul is absorbed in finding residential quarters, water, and riches to maintain his body. Thus, he forgets everything and perpetually runs around in the forest of material existence. Sometimes his eyes are covered by the dust of a whirlwind. Thus blinded, he cannot see where to go or what he's doing. And what is this? Eyes are covered by the dust, analogous to It's analogous to the beauty of the opposite sex. Blinded by something that is actually equivalent to dust. Becoming blind with lusty desire, disobeys the rules governing sex life. He does not know that his disobedience is witnessed by different demigods and punishment is awaiting him in the future. Then the merchant is running to acquire water from a mirage. Mirage is a fake vision. It makes you feel like there is water, but there won't be any water. So sometimes the conditioned soul appreciates the futility of sense enjoyment, but due to his bodily conception, he forgets and again runs after material enjoyment. Again and again. So one time we run after a material enjoyment, we actually realize that it is futile. That realization is not that alien to us. But the magic of this material world is that despite realizing that once, we run after another material enjoyment again and realize that that is also futile again. The key word here is again and again, I felt. And then what happens? Sometimes merchant's heart is pained by hearing the sounds of owls and invisible crickets. And that's where we are here. So the meters of these verses are very different. So I tried a lot to know how to read them, but I couldn't get how to read it. So this is how it goes. Kwachid uluka jilli swanavad ati parusha rabasa topam pratyaksham paroksham va ripu rajakula nirbhartsitenati vyathita karna moola hrudaya. Synonyms and translations by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Kwachit, sometimes, uluka of the owl, jhilli and the cricket, swanavat, exactly like intolerable sounds, ati parusha, extremely piercing, rabhasa, by perseverance, atopam, agitation, pratyaksham, directly, paroksham, indirectly, va, or ripu, of enemies, rajakula, and of government officers, nirbhartsitena, by chastisement, ati vyathita, very aggrieved, karna moola hrudaya, whose ear and heart. Let's read the translation. Does anybody want to read the translation?
Hare Krishna Mataji, can I
Go ahead.
Sometimes the conditioned soul is very aggrieved by the chastisement of his enemies and government servants who use harsh words against him indirectly or indirectly. At that time, his heart and ears becomes very saddened. Such chastisement may be compared to sound of owls and crickets. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Purport, anybody else wants to read?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna. There are different types of enemies within this material world. The government chastises one due to not paying income taxes. Such criticism, direct or indirect, saddens one. And sometimes the conditioned soul tries to counteract that chastisement. Unfortunately, he cannot do anything.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So although this verse seems to be a very simple one, and Prabhupada has given a very small purport, it has an ocean of meaning in it. And I'm really, as usual, I'm always bewildered and surprised by the analogies and the kind of comparisons and similes that are used in Bhagavatam verses. Here there are a lot of very special references according to me in this verse. Owls and crickets, sounds of them. After the class, you may want to go to YouTube and search for how owls sound. I did not know, I hadn't thought about the sound of the owl. In horror movies, I think that is the sound of an owl. After I heard the YouTube sounds, then I realized that it is the sound that the horror movies provide in the background when we are shown a very dark place, an abandoned palace kind of a thing, and somebody is trying to walk into such a scary place, like a woo kind of a sound. And crickets, the sound of the crickets. And these two are not very pleasant. Sound of an owl or sound of a cricket is far from being pleasant. They're pretty annoying, scary, as well as irritating. So that's the analogy that's being given. To what? To the chastisement and harsh words that we receive directly or indirectly. By whom? By our enemies and the government. So I was very amused by the mentioning of enemies in one sentence, and the next sentence talking about the government, right? Enemies and government. Although all of us know our government is our enemy too, but government does a lot of good things also for us. So I was sort of amused by these two sentences. There are different types of enemies within this material world. This one sentence holds a very huge hidden meaning in it. Enemies in this material world is everything that we are surrounded by. First of all, our own family members. They're the number one enemies of each of us. Then we step out of the house and we have neighborhood. Neighborhood is also our enemy. Then there are different things, systems that we deal with. Education system, or we go to buy a property, we have to deal with the registration of the property, that system, the administration system that actually helps you to register that property in your name. That is also not a friend of ours, that's an enemy. Those of you who have had to jump through the hoops to register a property into your name, or some dispute that was going on with the property and you had to sort of resolve, know this. All these administrative systems that are put in place by the government to sort of help us, they're not helping us. They're causing a lot of hurdles to us. And then some dispute happens and we have to go approach the legal system. Legal system is an enemy. When Mahatma Gandhi was jailed, British government offered him a lawyer. You want to take a lawyer? And Mahatma Gandhi said, what use is of that lawyer to me? That lawyer must have already been brainwashed by you. He must already been siding you, the government, British government. What will I do with such a lawyer? Who can you trust here? You cannot trust the legal system. We don't know the nitty-gritty details. There are so many loopholes. We later learn from people who have invested their time and energy and effort understanding those loopholes and how they exploit it, that, oh, such loopholes exist. We don't know. For a common, ordinary man, it's a black box. To think that a legal system, oh, lawyers are there. If I'm cheated by someone, I can actually go to the police system, is an enemy. Police system is an enemy. We all know. Legal system is an enemy. Then coming to how we got educated, education system, whole thing is an enemy. We were educated on the significance in an education system is on unnecessary things. And by the time I realized that 48 years of my life was already spent. That is the cheating. That, let me talk about myself. I got cheated. I thought that was all the Pythagoras theorems and trigonometries of the world are the most important things to learn. That was a big cheating. So should I consider education system my friend or enemy? It is an enemy. Now I argued with myself. No, how can I say that? The huge house beautiful house that I sit in is all because of my job, and my job is all because of my potent education that I got. So how is education system my enemy? And then I just looked at a day in my life, a week in my life, and a month in my life, and the number of times that I'm happy versus number of times and that I'm filled with anxiousness, anxiety, stress, running after what? Running after whether I'm able to do the jobs that are assigned to me at work, cook for my family on time, be there with my kids during their exams or not, get the whole house cleaned or garden attended to or not, whether my maid is coming or not. This anxiety forms 99.9% of my life. So whatever beautiful house my qualification gave me and whatever qualification I got from my education is giving me 99.9% of the times some kind of an anxiety. So I'm actually confused whether to consider education system as a friend or an enemy. Right? So this one single line, different types of enemies within this material world, encompasses almost everything that we have to deal with. Everything that we have to deal with. And government sits at the top of all. It chastises one due to not paying income taxes. In fact, one constant feeling that I have for the last entire 25 years that I am working is that I don't want to pay income tax. Somehow, there is a faint feeling. It comes and goes, and I'm a white collar employee, so I'm not the employer actually deducts the taxes and gives me whatever is remaining. So I don't, not that I have a choice here, but government does go after people like me. If I don't pay income tax, I'll be caught, right? I cannot say the same thing for all of the Bollywood heroes and heroines and directors and producers who amass a lot of wealth and still don't pay income tax, and they deliberately make movies that flop in the box office. They make sure that they catch an idiot. They actually choose a very, very bad story and order that idiot to make a very bad movie so that it bombs in the box office, and then they showcase all the expenses that happened for making that movie as having taken all the income that this super duper hit movie made. So that's how they evade their taxes, which is not possible for white collar employees like me. And then not just the government chastising here, there are a lot of criticism, direct or indirect, that is coming at us. It could be family members, it could be managers and bosses at work. It doesn't matter whether you're doing your duty or not. Or our view of, okay, let me talk about myself again. So my view of my life is that, oh, I'm actually doing everything right. I'm waking up in the morning. First thing that crosses my mind is, okay, what am I cooking for breakfast? And as my husband prepares for doing Mangalarti, I'm thinking, okay, what is he going to offer to the lordships? I should get them ready. Milk should be there, fruit should be there, breakfast items should be there. Then all of us need boxes to take for lunch. So lunch should be there completely. They should be offered. And I make them. That's what I'm thinking. I'm making breakfast. I'm making lunch, everything. But there will be criticism for doing all this. Something will not come as expected. There is a little more salt in the chutney. Idlis are very hard. I forgot to put salt in the pappu. And number of items were not that many for whatever reason. Oh, you should have made some rasam. Right? There is some, these are not harsh criticism, these are criticism though. Some are direct, some are indirect. My mother-in-law asks me, oh, today also you're going to come late? That's indirect. Every day you are coming late from office. Today also you have to go. You cannot work from home, is it? She likes me to work from home. Even I like to work from home for that matter. But fact of the matter is, I'm not a free person. I have to go to office. So some sadden, some irritate, some criticism sound unfair. I'm doing so much. I'm day in and day out. I'm making, so what if I forget once, once I forget to put salt in the pappu? Couldn't you have added and just told me, hey, pappu salt was not there. I just added it. It's no good. Right? Instead of criticism, somebody could have been a little more supportive. So there is this whole the true characteristic of material world that is at play every day, every minute. And it saddens one. And sometimes the conditioned soul tries to counteract that chastisement. I try to defend myself. When somebody does, this is something that I keep telling my husband. When somebody does 100 things, that person is more likely to do mistakes than a person who does 2 or 3 things. Right? If I were to do 2 or 3 things, one thing, I'll do it perfectly. Everybody has some fault to pick of me because I do 100 things in home. That's how I try to defend myself. But does that work? Well, it doesn't work. So I think this verse is extremely deep, deeper than it grew on me. As I progressed and sort of tried to look through and read through all of the assigned verses to me, I think this was the most important realization that dawned on me, that first of all, we have this limited scoped view of one's accomplishment and success. And we tend to think that just because somebody is having a good job, somebody is having a beautiful home, we try to term them as successful, right? It applies to all the other external public figures that we actually term very highly accomplished and achieved. We haven't seen what happens to them next. And for that, I was thinking, why did we not, why don't we actually, what's the difference between a devotee who looks at a very highly accomplished, successful person and a non-devotee who looks at the same, right? Mukesh Ambani's of the world. It's a very true fact that all of us, let me talk about myself here. I am enamored by their ability to earn 628 crores every single day, right? But the thing is, there is so much going on, and a devotee is able to see through that success and see the real state because of their surrender to the Lord. That's why great devotees like my spiritual master, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, despite surrounded by so many richest of the rich people, he's not surrounded by ordinary rich people. He's not surrounded by people who own like 5 or 6 houses, earn like some tens of crores. He's surrounded by wealthiest of the wealthy people on the planet. And how does he, I keep thinking how Maharaj must be looking at them, because he's a surrendered soul, he's a pure devotee. He sees through that accomplishment and success, and he is actually able to see all the miseries that are brought upon by those so-called successful people. Successful people. Sorry. Somebody,
చేసేసి 2 నిమిషాలు వస్తాను అంతే.
somebody is unmuted. Can they mute themselves? Brahmaram Mataji, please. Thank you. So, okay. So, they are able to do that because they are devotees. That's a very great qualification. And that earns the qualification to actually acquire wealth also. So as I was thinking through this, actually an example came through my mind. A few months back, my mom had sent me this video where this person, Vijaypat Singhania. Do any of you know who is Vijaypat Singhania?
He's the owner of Raymond's. He was the owner of Raymond's.
Right. He was the owner of Raymond's. Raymond's suitings and shirtings is the advertisement that I remember from my childhood. In the movies and all, when advertisements precede the movie, right? Raymond's used to be one of the major advertisements that we used to watch. And it has a tagline. Does anybody know what Raymond's tagline is?
The perfect man, Mataji.
Complete man.
The complete man.
A complete man. So Vijaypat Singhania was the owner of entire Raymond's Industries. He is gotten many awards, including Padma Bhushan by the government of India. And his worth was more than Mukesh Ambani. His worth was more than Mukesh Ambani. I just want to show you a Wikipedia on him, just to drive the point home as to what happened to him. Okay? And he was a great adventurer also. He traveled in hot air balloon from London to Delhi. And he wrote a book on that. And for that, he was given an Adventure Award. Adventure Award for Vijaypat Singhania. Vijaypat Singhania, IIM Ahmedabad board chairman. Who is Vijaypat Singhania to be sworn in as Mumbai Sheriff. The life stories of Indian business leaders. He's counted as one of the top businessmen in India, newsmaker, then company news, Raymond Group may be divided. Okay, some trouble brewing. I'm always on holiday, always on work. Very proudly, he is actually talking about his accomplishments and everything. And Vijaypat Singhania sacked as Raymond Chairman Emeritus comes. So what happened? What happened is, he has 2 sons. Okay? He has 2 sons. The first son, Madhupati Singhania, picks up a quarrel with his dad. And he moves to Singapore, relinquishing all of the rights to the property. He says, I don't want anything to do with you. I don't want any of your properties. I don't care who you give it to. And he says, I don't want anything. He goes off to Singapore. And then Vijaypat Singhania father is thinking of actually giving the entire reign, 100% reign to Gautam Singhania. At that point of time, Madhupati Singhania realizes his mistake. Arey, what did I do? I said no to not 1, 2, 3 crores. It's like thousands of crores of wealth I said no to. So he said, no. Dad cannot do this. He cannot transfer all of the property, and he sues him. Because he is suing, Vijaypat gets frantic, and his propensity to not let his son win against him, because There are some properties that he has inherited from his like heritage. He has got in heritage. Those things he has to divide equally between the two sons and everything. So he quickly decides to actually transfer everything, including all the properties owned, everything. He calls his lawyer, lists each and everything that he owns, and he transfers all of that to Gautam Singhania. And although Madhupati Singhania, sues him and wages war in legal battle ensues, but he is defeated, and all of the property is successfully registered to this Gautam Singhania. Is that all? Vijaypat must have thought, see how I defeated the disobedient son and taught him a lesson. And he's just having his laughter, but that is not enough. This Gautam is not really any obedient son. He was just waiting for his dad to transfer all the property. And he started being disrespectful to his dad, right? In front of the board meeting and everything, he used to behave very disrespectfully to him. That angered Vijaypat, right? Vijaypat said, what is this? I gave him all the money and he is actually doing this. He called a public press meet and chastised his son, left, right, and center. What happened? This Vijaypat didn't have a single penny in his name. He didn't even have a single house. Gautam said, vacate the house. You go to public and chastise me and speak wrongly of me? You think I'll keep quiet? I'm your son, like how you took revenge on your own son. Do you think I'm not going to take revenge on my own father? Now, fast forward, he's living in a rental apartment with a very, very minimal income, which comes from a small amount of stocks that he hadn't transferred by mistake. He would have transferred them also. Actually, by mistake, he had missed them. And that he keeps in his fixed deposit, and whatever interest is coming out of that, he's living off of that. He's just barely able to meet his daily expense and live a dignified life. So that is the story of Vijaypat Singhania. So we think that that's a prelude to the next verse here. But I have actually covered a little bit of examples for that also. This is a world where anybody can do anything. And that's the reason material world is Dukhalayam and Ashashvata. The proof and evidences are there everywhere. If we are not able to see, it is just by the conditioning that we have. And we see that from time to time. People disappoint us. Our own people disappoint us. And we know that, for all that I thought that this person is going to do so much for me, this is what I get in return. So I shouldn't even have expected in the first place. But again, we expect. That realization comes and goes. God knows where. And another similar incident happens, similar realization happens. That's the characteristic of this material world and the result of this conditioning. Let's go to the next verse, 12th. Anybody wants to read translation?
I'll read it, Mataji.
Yes.
Due to his pious activities in previous lives, the conditioned soul attain material facilities in this life. But when they are finished, he takes shelter of wealth and riches, which cannot help him in this life or the next. Because of this, he approaches the living dead who possess these things. Such people are compared to the impure trees, creepers, and poisonous wells. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Purport. Let me read this. The wealth and riches acquired through previous pious activities should not be misused for sense gratification. Enjoying them for sense gratification is like enjoying the fruits of a poisonous tree. Such activities will not help the conditioned soul in any way, neither in this life nor the next. However, if one engages his possessions in the service of the Lord under the guidance of a proper spiritual master, he will attain happiness both in this life and the next. Unless he does so, he eats a forbidden apple and thereby loses his paradise. Lord Shri Krishna therefore advises that one's possessions should be given unto him. Yat karoshi yad ashnashi, yad juhosi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurusva madarpanam. O son of Kunti, all that you do, all that you eat, all that you offer and give away, as well as all austerities that you may perform, should be done as an offering unto me. Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter, 27th verse. Now it is very clear, right? This Vijayapad Singhania got to be that kind of a wealthy man because of his previous pious activities. Must be, right? Richness does not come just like that. Some Purvajanma Sukrita will be there. But what happened? He just used it for his sense gratification and enjoyment. And such activities will not help. He did some audacious things like, right? Like, what do you get by coming in a hot air balloon from London to Delhi? What are you really like trying to do there? Those are senseless, right? Except that you get like you get to be very proud. You get into some Guinness Book of Records, which he did, by the way, and he got some bravery award from Government of India also. Are they going to really help? Is it helping him today? He in fact writes a autobiography by the name The Incomplete Man. Look at the contrast, look at the contradiction, look at the paradox. The brand that he owned has the tagline complete man. Just by wearing the suiting, you become complete man. And the owner of the entire suitings and shirtings writes an autobiography and the name is Incomplete Man. Right? If nothing, this itself is able to prove what is being said in this purport. This is proven already. If we try to enjoy what has been given to us in the form of wealth for pure sense gratification, we are eating poisonous fruit. So how do we make it not poisonous? By actually offering it to the Lord. That's what Krishna is saying very clearly. How clear can an instruction be? All that you do, all that you eat, all that you offer and give away, and all the austerities you perform, you just do it as an offering unto me. Simple, straightforward instruction. Material wealth and opulence attained through previous pious activities can be fully utilized for one's benefit in this life and the next if one is Krishna conscious. And we do have examples of such wealthy men who are doing this in front of our eyes, isn't it? His Grace Amrish Prabhu is a living example of someone who is actually following 5.14.12. Walking example of 5.14.12. He's building that Mayapur temple as per the orders of his spiritual master. One should not try to possess more than he needs for the bare necessities. If one gets more than that is needed, the surplus should be fully engaged in the Lord's service. That will make the conditioned soul, the world, and Krishna happy, and this is the aim of life. Right? Nothing needs to be explained on top of what Prabhupada has so clearly concluded here. Let's go to the 13th. Anybody wants to read?
I'll read Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Translation. Sometimes to mitigate distress in this forest of the material world, the conditioned soul receives cheap blessings from atheists. He then loses all intelligence in their association. This is exactly like jumping in shallow river. As a result, one simply breaks his head. He is not able to mitigate his sufferings from the heat, and in both ways he suffers. The misguided conditioned soul also approaches so-called sadhus and swamis who preach against the principles of the Vedas. He does not receive benefit from them, either in the present or in the future.
Hare Krishna. So, what happens when the person is facing the distresses in the forest of the material world? The soul tries to take shelter, right? When a distressed person's the first default instinct is to take shelter, isn't it? When we are distressed, we want to take shelter of something or some people, or we need shelter. But because the person lacks the spirituality or spiritual depth and the higher knowledge, there is no intelligence, and the person cannot choose the kind of shelter that he needs when he is distressed. That's what happened. He says in his autobiography, apparently I didn't read, Vijaypad says that I was misguided by my lawyers, that by transferring all of my wealth to my other son, I would be preventing Madhupati, the son who is asking for a piece of his property, I would be able to avoid him getting a penny from my property. But were those lawyers, do you think they were doing good to this man? Were they doing good to this man? Shouldn't they have warned him or asked him, what happens if Gautam turns against you? If Gautam turns against you, where will you go? You're giving away everything. Why are you doing this? He had a big team of lawyers, it seemed, and they all got very, very fat fees. They are now 100 times richer than him. Because this man lacked the intelligence, he took wrong association and sought wrong, sought suggestions from wrong people. This is exactly like jumping in a shallow river. If we jump in a shallow river, we get hurt. The purpose of jumping into a river are many. Either to take bath, or maybe some animal that cannot get into the water is chasing you. You can save yourself by jumping into the water. But what is happening here? By jumping into the shallow river, both the purpose is not served. You break your head simply. That's it. It's as stupid as that. You are not able to mitigate the sufferings from the heat. Maybe you are trying to jump into the water to get away from the heat. That didn't happen. In both the ways, he suffered. With heat also you suffered. Now you jumped into the shallow water. Now also you suffer. The misguided conditioned soul is also like that. All the decisions, all the suggestions are taken by atheists, cheap blessings from atheists. And he approaches so-called sadhus and swamis who preach against the principles of Vedas. So he does not receive benefit from them, either in the present or in the future. Yeah, purport. Anybody who wants to read?
Should I continue, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji, if nobody's.
Purport. Cheaters are always there to manufacture their own way of spiritual realization. To get some material benefit, the conditioned soul approaches these pseudo-sannyasis and yogis for cheap blessings. But he does not receive any benefit from them, either spiritual or material. In this age, there are many cheaters who show some jugglery and magic. They even create gold to amaze their followers, and their followers accept them as God. This type of cheating is very prominent in Kali Yuga. Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur describes the real Guru in this way. Samsara Dava Nalida Loka Taranya Karunya Ghana Ghanatvam Prapatsya Kalyana Gunarnavasya Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam. One should approach a Guru who can extinguish the blazing fire of this material world, the struggle for the existence. People want to be cheated and they go to yogis and swamis who play tricks. but tricks do not mitigate the miseries of material life. If being able to manufacture gold is a criterion to becoming God, then why not accept Krishna, the proprietor of entire universe, wherein there are countless tons of gold? As mentioned before, the color of gold is compared to the will-o-wisp or yellow stool. Therefore, one should not be allured by gold manufacturing gurus, but should sincerely approach a devotee like Jadabharata. Jadabharata instructed Rahuguna Maharaj so well that king was relieved from the bodily conception. One cannot become happy by accepting a false guru. A guru should be accepted as advised in Srimad Bhagavatam 11.3.21. Tasmat gurum prapadyate jnashu shreha uttamaha. One should approach a bona fide guru to inquire about the highest benefit of life. Such a guru is described as follows. Shabde pare che nishthanam. Nishnatham. Such a guru does not manufacture gold or juggle words. He is well versed in the conclusions of Vedic knowledge. Vedascha sarvair aham eva vedyo. He is freed from all material contamination and is fully engaged in Krishna's service. If one is able to obtain the dust of the lotus feet of such a guru, his life becomes successful. Otherwise, he is baffled both in this life and in the next. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. So it's very nicely concluded again for this verse also by Srila Prabhupada, that not only do we need to offer everything that we attain, achieve, accomplish to Krishna, we also need to seek a guru. Very, very important, because there is no guarantee that distresses will not come to us. It's impossible that somebody will not be distressed in life. It is impossible that we will not lose all that we have gained also. We will lose. During those distresses, we should have somebody who will actually guide us in the right path. Not like somebody giving cheap blessings as those atheists. We need a guru. All of us need a guru so that somebody can guide us and we can take shelter both in the time of distress. Actually, not just in the time of distress. Even the accomplishments, when a highly accomplished person has a right guru, that person has the right consciousness to accept that success and wealth. And if somebody has the right consciousness to accept that wealth and that success, they will not make such stupid mistakes that this Vijaypath Singhania did. Now he's writing in the autobiography, it seems, and he's giving a lot of interviews saying, warning all the parents that don't trust your children. Don't give away all your property while you are still alive. Actually, he's doing that. Hearing that, I almost felt like he's going to turn all the parents against their own children. Like that, he's like brainwashing the parents. That is also wrong. Look at him. All the parents who are watching that video should also remember that this is a man who still didn't learn his lesson. In a way, he's still going on making a big story of his own fall down as an example for parents to not trust their children. Instead, what he should have said, I did not, try to achieve the real wealth, which is the true knowledge of who I am and what I should be doing. Why did I take birth? All that 1,000 crores of wealth that I achieved was not the real wealth. This was the real wealth. I didn't go after it. I didn't have the knowledge. I didn't have the guru. That's why whatever happened in my life, and I went on and on making all the mistakes that I did, and here I am. That would have been a very nice video to put it out there, right? To transform the society. No, he's turning all the parents against the children. When my mom sent this video to me, I almost like, oh man, I don't want her to write her will when she is alive for me. I don't want anything. Instead, he could have told the real lesson that his life can teach to the rest of the world. Still, he hasn't gotten a guru. Can you see See that way, can we all appreciate, take a moment and appreciate how fortunate we are. How fortunate we are. We don't have to lose thousands and thousands of crores and fall into a deep distress to learn that Srila Prabhupada is the person whose lotus feet we should take shelter in. We somehow got there by some Purvajanma Sukrita, by the mercy of whatever small good deeds that our parents, our well-wishers had done, the prayers that they had for us, and the mercy and blessings of our Shiksha Guru, like Lilananda Prabhuji and Anuradha Mataji. We are here. We are on the right path. Whether we are able to walk nicely, we are struggling, we are limping, we are rolling, doesn't matter. The path is correct. It's better to struggle in this path. It is better to struggle in this path. Because even if, say, nothing went right in our lives, we will not make a video of saying don't transfer the property in your children's name, or don't invest in whatever mutual fund stocks. You'll become like me. I had so much money. We will not make those videos. We will actually make the videos where we will appreciate the very distresses that were caused to us. Because we will know that when a distress comes upon us, the single question that we should ask ourselves is, what is Krishna trying to teach me here? What is Krishna trying to teach me? There is something that Krishna is trying to teach me here, and that must be the good thing to learn. Let me go through this. This is going to be our mood when we are distressed. And when something big comes up, accomplishment happens, getting awards, a lot of money is coming. What are we going to do? We are not going to look for ways to invest and double that money. We are actually going to think, thank you, Krishna. Now that you have given me this wealth, there must be some way I can become instrument in accomplishing something that pleases my Guru and you. Right? Simple. If there are two opposite words, success, failure, we know how to behave and think during a successful time, versus we know the thought process that should guide us when we were faced with failure. Why? Because we are on the right path. We are being guided by right association. And we are trying to gain the right knowledge. Simple. And we are able to see success and failures as same because both are a point in time. Both are point in time phenomena. They are not permanent phenomena. I don't know what will happen to this house tomorrow. Right? So that is the most important realization that I got out of these verses. So Shilpa Mataji, how much time do I have?
Mataji, up to you. Generally till 9 we block the time, but yeah.
Okay, Mataji. So 14th verse. I want to read this translation. In this material world, when the conditioned soul cannot arrange for his own maintenance, despite exploiting others, he tries to exploit his own father or son, taking away that relative's possessions, although they may be very insignificant. If he cannot acquire things from his father, son, or other relatives, he's prepared to give them all kinds of trouble. Self-explanatory. I'll just finish the purport. Once we actually saw a distressed man steal ornaments from his daughter just to maintain himself. As the English proverb goes, necessity knows no law. When a conditioned soul needs something, he forgets his relationship with his relatives and exploits his own father or son. We also receive information from Srimad Bhagavatam that in this age of Kali, this time is quickly approaching when a relative will kill another relative for a small farthing. Without Krishna consciousness, people will deteriorate further and further into a hellish condition wherein they will perform abominable acts. Right? I don't have to explain. You know what is in the story that I explained what is happening. There is no end to anybody's greed here, and especially when something is being taken away from them, they're capable of doing anything to save themselves or prevent that person from stealing, as well as when they themselves are in need, they're ready to steal from the other. See, look at the irony there, right? Holding on to one's possessions is the underlying emotion and principle here. Do everything and retain what you have. Do everything and get what you need. That's what Charvaka said, right? Rudam krutva dhrutam pibet. Take loans, but eat only ghee, he said. Doesn't matter how that ghee is coming from, like how that is being earned from. Bad means good means stealing. Doesn't matter. You can actually, you should aim at having only ghee, even if after taking loans. This is the Charvaka principle. And family people killing family people. Unfortunately, we are in a world, none of us are alien to this concept. Just last month, the most abominable of abominable things happened. One thing that we keep thinking that even this Kali age, there is some purity left in love of mother. That also got breached. In Bangalore, this so-called CEO, and she is like running an artificial intelligence company and naturally so stupid. This woman killed a 4-year-old son of her own. Not only that, she had the audacity to put the body in a suitcase and walk out and check out of that hotel as though nothing happened. All for preventing her estranged husband from meeting him. I think, I don't know what else epitome of sin we have to see in here. This has already happened. This Bhagavatam verse that was written 5,000 years ago, 2024 already brought it. 5.14 already happened. Let's see. 15th verse. Please read.
Hare Krishna.
Read.
In this world, family life is exactly like a blazing fire in the forest. There is not the least happiness, and gradually one becomes more and more implicated in unhappiness. In household life, there is nothing favorable for perpetual happiness. Being implicated in home life, the conditioned soul is burned by the fire of lamentation. Sometimes he condemns himself as being very unfortunate, and sometimes he claims that he suffers because he performed no pious activities in his previous life.
Continue, Amma, purport.
In the Guru Ashtaka, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura has said, Samsara Davanala Lidha Loka Tranaya Karunya Ghanatvam. A life in this material world is exactly like a blazing forest fire. No one goes to set fire to the forest, yet the fire takes place. Similarly, everyone wants to be happy in the material world, but the miserable conditions of material life simply increase. Sometimes a person caught in the blazing fire of material existence condemns himself, but due to his bodily conception, he cannot get out of the entanglement, and thus he suffers more and more. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So the key thing here, no special explanation is necessary. We have spoken enough of this. The whole thing that really bothered me to no end is that due to his bodily conception, he cannot get out of the entanglement. It's not like the conditioned soul is not realizing. He even condemns himself. Hey, what am I doing? I'm doing stupid things. Nonsense I'm doing. But bodily consumption pulls him back, right? And suffers more and more. This is amazingly dangerous thing. 16th verse.
Hare Krishna Mataji, can I read?
Yes, Mataji, Shri Vali Mataji.
Dandavat Pranam, Hare Krishna. Translation: Government men are always like carnivorous demons called Rakshasas, man-eaters. Sometimes these government men turn against the conditioned soul and take away all his accumulated wealth. Being bereft of his life's reserved wealth, the conditioned soul loses all enthusiasm. Indeed, it is as though he loses his life.
Continue, Mataji.
Okay, Mataji. The word Raja Kula Rakshasa is very significant. Srimad Bhagavatam was compiled about 5,000 years ago. Yet, government men are referred to as Rakshasas or carnivorous demons. If government men are opposed to a person, that person will be bereft of all his riches, which he has accumulated the great care over a long period of time. Actually, no one wants to pay income taxes. Even government men themselves try to avoid these taxes, but at unfavorable times, income taxes are exacted forcefully, and the taxpayers become very morose. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Somebody summed my life up. So, not somebody, Srila Prabhupada. So, Rajakula Rakshasa. Even 5,000 years ago, government is referred to as Rakshasas and carnivorous demons. They are not even herbivorous. They are demons, and on top of that, they are carnivorous. Right? They are animal-eating demons. So, if government goes against a person, we have, again, I don't need to go in detail into another rich man's story here. You know the story of Malya, Vijay Malya, what happened to him. Actually, if you know the lineage that Malya inherits, he comes from a very, very principled, let's say, a principled family background. His father, Vitthal Malya, I did my engineering in Mysore. In Mysore, there is VMSRF, Vitthal Malya Scientific Research Foundation. And a lot of good research happens, both in the fields of botany as well as zoology. Lot of good, amazing scientists which are contributing very highly to the total research that is being done in the world of science work there pretty selflessly, because they are not given, those scientists, if they were to go out, they would make a lot of money. My friend's husband, my very close friend's husband, was a scientist there. Now he is head of the Department of Veterinary Sciences in University of Pennsylvania. And he's now very rich man, but the same amount of research, same level of research he was doing in VMSRF for peanuts, I would say. So VMSRF has a lot of good research that is going on. And Vijay Malya is his son. Vitthal Malya contributed to various fields like science. He has a lot of philanthropy he did. He had some good Sattva-guna principles. But this guy went all out. But their whole business is that of making alcohol. So there is a foundational problem there. But I'm just saying how this guy completely went off track, even more than his father. His father lived a very good life. I mean, that can be considered as a very good life in material sense. So what happened when government turns against a very seemingly powerful rich person also? Everything can go wrong for him. That guy is absconding, whatever, he may be living in a mansion in London, but for the rest of his life, he every day he wakes up, he knows that he's not living in London on vacation. He is in fact living there because he has nowhere else to go, and his own country has disowned him. And the minute he steps into his own country, he'll be arrested, right? I don't know how good that makes him feel, despite all of the bank balance that he may have. Not just that, his bank balance is depleting. He's not able to run as many businesses he's able to run. And all in all, what I'm saying is when government turns against a person, no matter how rich or powerful he is, his wealth will start getting depleted. That's the first thing that will happen. Some people will go bankrupt. Health and happiness and peacefulness is completely tossed out of the window. So it's a very dangerous thing to have happen, to have government oppose you. It's very, very hard to fight against the government. And particularly, I really like the way Prabhupada talks about income tax here. Prabhupada is so right. Nah, no one wants to pay income tax. Right? Out of 100 rupees we earn, all of us who are white-collared employees, 45 rupees we give away. They not giving away, they take away and give us the rest. Rest also, there are a lot of things, fine prints. I 25 years into working, I never understand my pay stub. The other day, I was really thinking of calling Deepa Mataji and asking, what the hell is happening? What is this line item? So I just don't understand what are all the things that are happening there. Those are all tricks, right? Because I don't understand what if they're cheating. They can as well cheat because I'll never be able to point fingers at them. And it's been taken forcibly, right? That's why I'm a taxpayer and I become very morose. There you go. Let's go to the 70. Anybody wants to read?
Hare
Translation and purport. Yeah, go ahead.
Krishna. Sometimes the conditioned soul imagines that his father or grandfather has again come in the form of his son or grandson. In this way, he feels the happiness one sometimes feels in a dream, and the conditioned soul sometimes takes pleasure in such mental concoctions.
Go ahead, Mataji.
Due to Srila Prabhupada, due to ignorance of the real existence of the Lord, the conditioned soul imagines many things. Influenced by fruitive activity, he comes together with his relatives, fathers, sons, and grandfathers, exactly as straws gathered together in a moving stream. In a moment, the straws are thrown everywhere and they lose contact. In conditioned life, the living entity is temporarily with many other conditioned souls. They gather together as family members, and the material affection is so strong that even after a father or grandfather passes away, one takes pleasure in thinking that they return to the family in different forms. Sometimes this may happen, but in any case, the conditioned soul likes to take pleasure in such concordant thoughts.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
See how Prabhupada begins the sentence. And by the way, over the time, observing the way Prabhupada writes, right, and speaks also like that only, I have come to one more conclusion. I use this in my day-to-day work also. If you mention the reason for something that happens at the beginning of the sentence, in any kind of communication, it is very, very effective. He could have written like this. He could have, same sentence, Prabhupada could have written, the conditioned soul imagines many things due to ignorance of the real existence of the Lord. But Prabhupada, most of the times, begins with the reason that is causing the current status. And I use it in my email styles and whenever I write a document, I use this a lot. I remember and use this because this drives the point home quickly. There is no time to waste here. Due to ignorance, everything, every annoying, anxiety causing, stress causing things are happening because of our ignorance to the real existence of the Lord. Everything. That's why we do mistakes. We seek wrong people's suggestions. We don't take the shelter of the Guru. All these things happen because we are ignoring the real existence of the Lord. And we imagine many things also. This Bhagavatam verse is saying. After reading this verse, I was wondering, is there any realm of life that Bhagavatam has not spoken about? This would be such a detailed buried in such deep consciousness of ourselves that we imagine rosy things, don't we? I don't think anybody has even publicly admitted that we do this to seek happiness. See, in this way, he feels the happiness because of our incessant, relentless, never-ending search for happiness. Anandamayo bhyasat. When nothing else is really working out that can give us the real happiness, at least in a materialistic manner, we start imagining. We move over to the next world while living, which is the imaginatory world. And we imagine things that gives us happiness. So it does happen that we imagine our time with our relatives that are not there right now. So sort of, try to get carried away by those thoughts that keep us happy. Exactly as straws gather together in a moving stream. Another amazing analogy that Prabhupada gives here. Do they have any purpose here? The straws that are going in a stream, do they have a destination here? No. Do they have control? No. In a moment, the straws are thrown everywhere and they lose contact. In conditioned life, living entities temporarily with many other conditioned souls. They gather together as family members, and the material affection is so strong that even after a father or grandfather passes away, one takes pleasure in thinking that they return to the family in different forms. Not just that, this also actually the key. Living entities temporarily with other conditioned souls. This also should give us the ability to sort of ignore and forgive those who hurt us. Because they have the people who are hurting us. Remember how we began the 11th verse? We are criticized, we are chastised, and it's very sad to hear, and we become morose hearing all those things. But just remember, living entities temporarily with many other conditioned souls. Right? My husband and my mother-in-law may not get a wife like me or a daughter-in-law like me anymore. This is the last time. Right? Then next time, they will get a Swiggy, Zomato daughter-in-law and wife. Then they will realize. Maybe not. They won't remember that they had a wife and daughter-in-law who cooked every day for them. Right? So thinking like that, I can let go of the criticism. Next. 18. Anybody wants to read the translation and purport?
Can I
Hare,
read?
Mataji, can I read?
Yes, Prabhuji, go ahead.
In household life, one is ordered to execute many yajnas and fruitive activities, especially the Viviha Yajna, the marriage Vivaha Yajna, the marriage ceremony for sons and daughters, and the sacred thread ceremony. These are all the duties of Grihastha, and they are very extensive and troublesome to execute. They are compared to big hill over which one must cross when one is attached to material activities. One person desiring to cross over these ritualistic ceremonies certainly feels pain like the piercing of thorns and pebbles endured by one attempting to climb a hill. Thus, the conditioned souls suffer unlimitedly. Hare Krishna.
Read the purport, Prabhuji.
There are many social functions for keeping prestigious positions in society. In different countries and societies, there are various festivals and rituals. In India, the father is supposed to get his children married. When he does so, his responsibility to the family is complete. Arranging marriages is very difficult, especially in these days. At the present moment, no one can perform the proper rituals of sacrifice, nor can anyone afford to pay for the marriage ceremony of sons and daughters. Therefore, householders are very much distressed when they are confronted by these social duties. It is as thought they are pierced by thorns and hurt by pebbles. material attachments is so strong that depict that despite this suffering, one cannot give it up. Prahlad Maharaj therefore recommends Bhagavatam 7.5.5.
Hitva atam graham andhakupam.
The so-called comfortable family position is compared to a dark well in a field. If one falls in a dark well covered by grass, his life is lost, despite his cry for rescue. Highly advanced spiritualists therefore recommend that one should not enter the Grihastha ashrama. It is better to prepare oneself in the Brahmachari ashrama for austerities and remain a pure Brahmachari throughout one's life, so that one will not feel the piercing thorns of material life in the Grihastha ashrama. In the Grihastha ashrama, one has to accept invitation from friends and relatives and perform ritualistic ceremonies. By so doing, one becomes captivated by such things, although he may not have sufficient resources to continue them. To maintain the Grihastha lifestyle, one has to work very hard and acquire money. Thus, one is implicated in material life and he suffers the thorn pricks. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So after this, we'll stop here because I want to have 2 minutes for any question and answer. So this verse is talking about household life. In household life, in order to enter into the household life itself, there is marriage necessary, and marriage ceremony is very complex with all of the yagna and everything. Although it is very happy occasion, all of you will agree with me until it gets over. As much as we wait for a wedding, we actually wait for it to end also. Have you observed this conflict? Especially if you are the host, you will really look forward. Like, for example, nowadays my imagination, the happy place to imagine is my daughter's wedding. I keep thinking, any saree that I see, maybe I should send a picture to Sanidhi. Anything that I see, I should do this. Any good item I eat, we should actually serve this in our daughter's marriage. Like that. That's my the previous 17th verses happy imagination is there. No, that is my imagination nowadays. But we forget. But one more thing is, whenever you host something, you look forward to like hosting that party, have all the people come in. You look forward that people will come in, you have a good time, you have good food and whatnot. But you also wait when all this will end. That is because these activities, especially yagnas and fruitive activities, right? The puja and punaskaras that we do, they're very hard to do. They're very hard to do. So they're very extensive. See here, extensive and troublesome to execute. And they are being compared to a big hill over which one must cross when one is attached to material activities. So sometimes these very rituals that we have to perform as part of being a householder, right? We feel like it's like piercing of thorns and pebbles. And this is part of the, actually, remember, we are reading the direct meaning of that allegorical story, that Jadabharata story. The story is done. The story happens between the first verse and first verse to 19th verse. No, of 13th chapter. We are now in 14th chapter. So here, Sukadeva Goswami is explaining what was the hidden meaning of that allegorical story. That's why the story that you have to remember, the part of the story that you have to remember when you read this is that when that merchant tried to climb the mountain and it was all thorny and stony and everything. That's the story you have to remember. So the hidden meaning is the Grihastha life. Grihastha life is full of thorns and pebbles in the form of the ritualistic activities that one may need to perform as part of becoming a household. You cannot say no to it. That comes part and parcel of it, right? And then by the whole thing of doing so, you have to suffer, because sometimes it's not, you may not even have sufficient resources. Like, for example, you have to get your daughter married. Say you don't have money, you have to get it done somehow or the other. Insufficient resources is not going to give you a discount. Oh, okay, you don't have money, you don't have to get your daughter married. No, you have to get your daughter married. You have to maintain those are the things that you have to do to maintain the grihastha life. And what to speak of grihastha lifestyle, both are different. There are things that we need to do in order to maintain grihastha life, and there are the things that we inflict upon ourselves in order to maintain grihastha lifestyle. So we have to work very hard to acquire money, and thus we become implicated in material life. So I just want to stop the class here. Sorry, Shilpa Mataji, I was not able to finish the portion that you gave me, because I think I got carried away and spent a lot of time in the first verse. But if there is any question, and before that, let me also tell that I am probably the least qualified person in the entire satsang and world to do this to do this class, especially. I don't know why I was chosen for this. Somehow, why these verses came to me. In the last Ekadashi class, Lilananda Prabhuji was talking about how he wishes and prays for some verses to come to him in a Gita circle for Gita Jayanti. Sometimes I feel that when Krishna wants us to remember the lessons that we have forgotten, because these are all the things that we have heard in one form or the other in one or the other lecture, but nevertheless, the conditioned soul, as it has to go through this cycle of realization, forgetting, going through stupid things, lamenting, realizing, forgetting. So I guess as part of remembering, to realize it again and again, we do get some verses that sort of helps us to take a peek view into our inside self and introspect and retrospect what we are doing. So that's what happened when I was trying to prepare, which I didn't actually. I couldn't prepare at all. Anything that I have said which is out of the line or inappropriate, just please forgive me. Any question?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Actually, yeah, it's really wonderful class indeed. Sapna, no questions, but the thing is, so many live examples for each and every part, but that is really amazes. So it's not about not about the preparation class. Excellent class, Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Shreegopal Mataji, for coming.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna,
మీ ఎదురుగుండా అసలు క్లాస్ ఇవ్వడం ఏంటి,
No, Chichi.
అడాసిటీ ఏంటి, నా స్టూపిడిటీ ఏంటి, నాకు అర్థం కాదు.
Hare Krishna Mataji. No, we are all individually connected to Krishna, and Lord Krishna is speaking through us. By giving a class, we are only being an instrument in front of Krishna. But please use me to purify me and pass on the message to others. That's all it is. This is my favorite chapter of Bhagavatam because it exposes me in and out. And nothing can be more frank and revealing than this chapter. Every purport of Prabhupada. It as if Prabhupada is seeing even 2024 and when he's speaking this chapter. That's what I feel every time I hear this. Is every word is like, oh, he's telling in 2024. And the same way people will feel when people will read it in 3024 also. Everything is so relatable and so true. Because as we also tell in SSR, scriptures, they are beyond time and space. Whatever is being told is, applicable today, applicable tomorrow, applicable forever. Which also shows that materialistic people, the whole material world has been there for long time, and people have done this again and again, and still people are doing it. So it's a great reminder for all of us, that we should become more serious in spiritual life and not expect anything from material life except misery. Very clearly being told again. Thank you for taking the class. Dandavat pranam. All goes to Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank
Thank you, Mataji. Very wonderful class. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji.
Thank
Was
you
it
very much.
Lavanya Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. Prabhuji
Yes.
went to drop Hansini, so I was attending the class.
Okay,
very-
okay. Thank you, Mataji.
It's very
Thank you,
nice.
Suma Mataji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brahmaramba Mataji. Thank you so much. Anchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyah patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta koti Vaishnav Vrind ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much.